Good afternoon. This is the Catoctin School of Music 2014 Winter Beginner Guitar Class video follow-up number 2. Okay, so last night we talked a lot about how to hold a pick in our right hand. So I've got my favorite pink pick right here to make it nice and easy for y'all to see. And let me change angles here so I can demonstrate nice and easily here. So again, remember, you want to have that pick between the pointer finger and the thumb. So here's my hand. A way you can get into that position is make a nice tight fist, relax the fist, and then just put the pick with the pointy part down, going right between those two fingers. You don't want too much pick hanging out, so I just kind of choked up on it a little bit, and now you can see there's just a little bit hanging out, and that's what I'm going to use to be strumming with today. So, guitar back up. Remember, you want to get the neck angled nice and high. Once you're all tuned up, of course, to the E, A, D, G, B, and little E string, and everything's tuned up, what I would recommend is starting out with your 5th fret warm-up. That's what it's there for. It's kind of the first thing you want to go to every day. So, we'll try some things out with this week that is going to incorporate our right hand picking. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to go ahead and push that first note down with your pointer finger. Again, remember your thumb's in the back. Everyone has a star now, so make sure your thumb is on that star the whole time during this exercise. You're going to pluck down on the string and then up on the string. Okay? So every single finger is going to get 2 plucks. A down pluck and an up pluck. Okay? Try to make it nice and even. You want to hear the sound continually ringing out. You don't want to hear anything short and choppy like that. So if you hear yourself getting short and choppy, just make sure you're leaving the left hand finger down, clamp down hard. And after you pluck the string, don't reset the pick right on the string. Just kind of leave it floating in the air. Only touch the string right when it's time to pluck. Okay? Remember, you want all 4 fingers down, so by the time you get to pinky finger, pointer, middle, and ring are still pressed down as well. This is a really good habit to form. Of course, you'll cross the strings. Go all the way down, all the way back up. So 2 plucks per note gives you extra practice in your picking hand, and then of course the good practice for our left hand technique, which we've been talking about for a couple of weeks now. Okay? So I would recommend doing that 4 or 5 times. Just go slow, try to make it sound good, be as accurate and perfect as you can. Really, the name of the game is always slow and perfect. That's what's going to make you a good player. Jumping too fast too early just kind of makes a sloppy player out of you. Okay, I'm turning the page here to 19 in the binder, and I'm looking at the popular chord progressions here. We've got page 16 with our chord diagrams that Sean described to us last night. And so I'm just going to play through some of these so you can kind of see the chord shapes and to kind of listen to see what what you're aiming for at home. So number 1 on page 19, popular chord progressions, in the style of Pink Floyd, is an E minor chord. So I'm going to get my middle finger on 2nd fret A string and ring finger underneath it, 2nd fret D string. I want my thumb basically still in the back of the neck here, and I want to make sure I'm not resting on any other strings. Okay? Use that thumb to help squeeze the notes down. And once they're down, I'm going to strum all 6 strings. Should sound like this. Nice and full. A good way to check yourself to make sure that every single note really is ringing out properly is once the shape is down in the left hand, try hitting 1 string at a time. Check this out. I'm going to make my ring finger a little bit off. See, it's not pushing hard enough right now, so it sounds kind of muted. I'm going to squeeze a little harder. now the note came back out. Here it is, kind of muted sounding. I'm going to leave it muted sounding, and now I'm going to strum all 6. Almost kind of hard to tell that I was missing it, but sure enough, I'm still missing it. So I'm going to push down harder, and it's just a good way to check yourself, because again, if you strum all the strings, you might miss 1 or 2 that aren't all the way down. But once you can fix it and correct it, you'll notice, oh yeah, it is a little bit fuller and richer sounding with all the chords, with all the notes in the chord pressed down properly. All right, then the A7 chord, middle finger, 2nd fret, D string. Remember, still trying to press behind the fret wires for everything. So when you're doing your warm-up, you want to focus on that. Pushing down chords, you want to focus on that as well. Ring finger comes down on 2nd fret, B string. And this one we're going to strum just the bottom 5. Okay. Check each string. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to play my E minor chord, strum it 4 times. Switch down to the A7. Strum that 4 times. And just have fun at home going back and forth between those 2 chords, kind of get into that Pink Floyd groove. You may want to watch your right hand a couple times to start with to make sure that you are missing the top string for the A7. You don't want to accidentally hit the top string. It gets kind of muddy sounding. Okay? Then if you get real good, you can try faster. Now remember, when we're strumming, you should be moving with kind of a handshake motion in that right hand. Okay? You're still holding the pick exactly like we talked about at the beginning of the video. And the other thing to remember is you want to be relaxed. Don't tense your right hand. Don't squeeze on the pick hard. There should be some wiggle room in the pick, in your fingers. You may drop it a couple times as you're learning how to hold it properly, but that's part of the learning process. But if you hold it too tight, it's going to sound really aggressive on the instrument, and you want just kind of a nice, brushy, pretty sound, and that comes from a relaxed grip. Okay. Number 2 on the popular chord progressions is E minor to D chord. By the way, you're probably noticing there's a bunch of symbols and numbers and arrows and things like that. That's called musical rhythm. There's specific timing that goes with each of these progressions and a certain order of strums, down and up, kind of alternating. Don't worry about that. We're going to get into that next week. Right now, this week, I want you to just learn the shapes of the chords for the left hand and get comfortable switching between them. So for now, let's just do down strums, and you can do 4 strums per chord. So here's E minor. Already learned that one. Here comes D. Pointer finger, 2nd fret, G string. Ring finger, 3rd fret, B string. Middle finger, 2nd fret, little e. And we only strum the bottom 4. So you want to be extra careful with your pick to only get those bottom 4. I'm going to check out each string individually. Sounds good. Cool. Now, if we strum all 6 strings for D, it sounds really bad. Here I am going to play it right 2 times. Now here's me strumming everything. Not so good anymore. So following the diagram on page 16 and really making sure you don't strum any of the strings with X's is extremely important to how good you're going to sound with these. Okay, now I'm just going to do 4 strums E minor, 4 strums D, have a little fun alternating back and forth. For those of you that already read music and understand your quarter notes and eighth notes, I'm going to go ahead and strum through the rhythm of number 2 the way it's written. And anytime I get to a grouping of eighth notes, I'm going to do the first eighth note with a down strum and the second eighth note as an up strum. You can kind of listen and try to match at home using your ear if you want to, again, get kind of adventurous. just do one more for this video. Number 3, the G chord and the C add 9. Very similar shapes. So G chord is middle finger, 3rd fret, big E string. Okay. Pointer finger, 2nd fret A string. Ring finger coming down to the 3rd fret of the B string. Pinky right underneath ring finger, 3rd fret, little e. Okay, strum all 6 strings. Check the notes, they're all there. Strum through, sounds marvelous. Okay, here's 4 strums on G. C add 9, one of the easiest switches to go to from G, because it's just middle finger and pointer finger hopping down 1 string, and then omit the top string and strum the bottom 5. They have a great sound together, they're easy to switch together. It's a beautiful thing. Okay, here comes 4 strums on each. G, C add 9. Back to G. Notice that when I switch, I don't place one finger at a time. I move them both kind of as a unit. Almost imagine them like kind of being glued together, those 2 fingers. They gotta move together. That's how you'll get a lot faster with these. Alright, and last thing is I'll just play this with the rhythm that's written. And again, this is the Beatles, Love Me Do. Here it is slow. Here it is fast. Alright, that's all for this week. Have a wonderful time playing. Practice only on the days you eat. And remember, go slow to be able to play fast later. Alright, have fun and happy practicing.